¿Qué pasó, mi gente? Paulie here on the Latino Slang, going interactive, where you can also keep up with what we're doing in this video on our latinoslant.com. Right now, we have an article up on this very issue. What is the issue? Well, Scream has lost not only their 2 stars, but it seems the Latino audiences. And in my article, I break down the timeline. The timeline was very swift from August of 2023 to the end of December 2023. Here's what Scream lost. Well, so let's hit that time. In early August, director Christopher Landon was named to be the new director of the next Scream. And this was a kind of a big deal in Hollywood because, yes, he is a horror director, but, you know, the LGBTQ community came out because he's the first out horror film director. You have that. Then in September, combined strikes were happening. Had to push back the schedules. At that time, I also stated that there were actually no contracts given to any of the actors in the latest Scream franchise, any of the latest Scream cast members. They had no contracts. So technically, no one had been hired, right? No one has been hired at that point. Then we move on up to October and the Palestine and the Israeli conflicts that started and all that unfortunate violence and war that has started going on. People taking sides, including Melissa Barrera, took a very strong pro-Palestinian people stance, not an anti-Semitic stance, which she actually reiterated. She is not anti-Semitic. Well, Spyglass had no tolerance for that and quickly fired her. The next day, Jenna Ortega comes out, I'm not returning to Scream, scheduling conflicts. The next day, bam, bam. Now, timelines have it that in November, Spyglass got a big backlash. They tried to meet up with Melissa. She wasn't going to have it. They wanted her back. She wasn't going to have it. Word of advice, guys. Word of advice. Never piss off a Latina. Going into December 23rd, right before the holidays, director Christopher Landon comes out saying, I have left the Scream franchise. What? You only been... You only had the job for a few months, homie. What happened? He called the situation a nightmare and wants peace for everyone. That is a very political way of saying, man, you know, he did not like the treatment of his stars, Melissa Barrera. Very political way of saying that. A lot of other stars said that too, as far as some former cast members of the original Scream series. But here's that's the timeline, guys. And right now, the writers are stuck with starting from scratch. It could work. It could not. What we do know is it will not go forward with Melissa Barrera or Jenna Ortega. You got to understand, guys, the last 2 Screams were steadily not only making more money than the one before, but have garnered a new audience. And that huge audience was, drum roll, the Latino audience. The Latino movie-going audience makes all kinds of films hits. What I say in my article as well is that the Latino movie-going audience tastes are very eclectic, as is their politics. Depending on the issue, my people, Latinos will go one way or the other. In this case, there is a strong pro-Palestinian people ceasefire sentiment in the Chicano, in the Mexicano, and Latino Latinidad. What Spyglass did is embodied that whole section of fans, from Melissa Barrera fans to those people who are already very politically active, and pretty much shut the door on those fans, pretty much shut the door on those future movie-going audience fans for the Scream franchise. We here at The Slant always cover the Latino movie-going audience and how they make movie after movie, hit after hit. From Mario Brothers to Creed 3 to now Scream, they don't need to see themselves necessarily, but they don't want to be taken for granted. Oh yeah, those Latinos will come no matter what we do. They don't need to see themselves. Oh, they don't need Jenna Ortega. They don't need Melissa Barrera. I also want to give a huge shout out to Cameron Pasha, novelist, writer, playwright, screenwriter, who's been very eloquent and very passionate about this subject as well. Check him out in the link below. So finally, I think this is a huge mistake, a huge F up on Spyglass's part, but this is not surprising, guys. This is not surprising, and when I close up my article, I talk about the hypocrisy of Hollywood. From Disney to Hulu to Spyglass, they consistently take for granted and disrespect their biggest movie-going audience, the Latinos. It just, in this day and age, 2024, in this day and age, movies still got to fight tooth and nail just to get an audience because it might have a Latino story behind it, like a Flaming Hot I talk about. When is Hollywood gonna stop taking that Latino movie-going audience for granted and think of them as a very complex, very eclectic group that, don't necessarily go on one side of the aisle or the other? And then when it comes to their movie tastes, yes, they do like to see themselves when done right, and when it's kind of like this non-traditional casting, like the two Latinas in Scream. They love it. They showed up week after week, and now you have this brand new audience for a franchise. That does not happen a lot. That's why I call it lightning in a bottle that Spyglass lost. Finally, I say, what would Hollywood have been in 2023 without the Latino movie-going audience? Without that audience that they take for granted. Hollywood, or would they not? So, read my full article. Let me know your thoughts. Comment at the article. Comment here, but hit the latinoslant.com. And, this drama is probably not over. I'm curious to see where Scream lands with, who they're going to cast and all that good stuff. What will the storylines be? But also, too, I want to see those fans' support of Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. I want to see what's going to happen next with all of them. We know Jenna is pretty much a global name. Melissa's a little different, right? She's got her fame. She's got her support and structure in Mexico. She doesn't really need Hollywood. Pero vas a ver, because the audiences have spoken time and time again. They loved these two ladies in Scream. And yes, Spyglass, you blew it big time. Wherever you're at, keep that slant fuerte. Paz.